In today's video, we are going to be discussing 3 financial tips that every single mother not only needs to know, but should be applying in their life. I, for one, know all about the financial struggles of being a single mother. Because I was a teen mom, that posed some pretty challenging financial hurdles very early on for me. And for one, that's mostly because I was still in high school when I had my daughter. However, 16 years later, I can finally say that I have not only learned how to survive, but how to thrive with my finances. This was definitely not easy. However, I know that if I can manage to make it through, so can you. All right, mamas, go ahead and grab yourself a notebook, a pen, paper, or pull out your phone just so you can write down some of these tips so that you can begin your financial journey today. Not tomorrow, but today.
Ceiling fan blowing cold breeze on your body. I can't tell you really what it is, but you got it. Makeup in the morning, you got dresses in your closet, but you grab them.
Hey girls, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Tremise Nicole and I'm going to be your new favorite sister girl. Disclaimer, I am in no way, shape, or form a financial expert, nor am I a financial guru, okay? So I'm just speaking from my personal experience. So be sure to speak with a financial expert and also use your better judgment to do what's best for you in your current financial situation. So let's go ahead and get into these tips. Tip number 1, build an emergency fund. Now, I know every single finance guru, no matter who it is or who their target audience is, they always recommend building an emergency fund. And that's because it is the most important, most crucial step in financial freedom. I have always had an emergency fund. Now, however, the emergency fund I had when Amira was younger looked much different than the one I have right now. I always remember my mother telling me before I leave the house, always keep a few coins on you for incidentals, okay? Tina Thompson, she wasn't playing about those incidentals, darling, okay? I'm talking jingling change in your pocket coins. So if you run into an emergency and you need to call somebody on the payphone, I know I'm making myself sound ancient by talking about a payphone, but yeah, when I was growing up, payphones were still a thing. I mean, they were definitely swiftly on their way out, okay? They were on their way out with the, progression of the cell phone, but I wasn't one of those fortunate children with the cell phone, or with the cell phone that was on their parents' plan. Nah, I had a track phone, okay? The minutes run out, and then you hit, you're short. You can't do nothing else once your minutes were gone. And then on my little phone, it wasn't even a flip phone. I had the little Nokia track phone with the only game that was on it was Snake, okay? So, trust me, I needed them coins. So, I'm telling you, those nickels and dimes definitely came in handy, though. I will say that. Because of my mother, I would say that I learned the importance of saving a little money in case you find yourself in a bind. Because I was a young mother, I did not have a job that paid very well at the time. I worked at Denny's. I was a waitress. I won't say that was my first job, but that was my first job as a mom. I worked there when I was pregnant. And because I was a little waitress, 17, only, not making much money, I was literally only able to save change, like pocket change. And yes, I'm talking about quarters, nickels, dimes, pennies. That's all I had. And some of you might laugh at that, right? It sounds funny that all I was able to do was save nickels and dimes. However, those nickels and dimes definitely came in handy when I needed them, okay? Countless times when I didn't have enough cash to get gas for the next few days in order for me to get to work, I was able to crack open my coin jar and get at least like $5 or $10 of gas money, all in quarters or nickels or dimes or even pennies. Amira and I remember times where Amira and I would, once she started learning how to count money, I used that as a tool too, honey, okay? So those of you with young children and they need to learn how to count money, one thing Amira did learn was how to count money real quick, okay? Because we sat on that floor, we cracked that coin jar wide open, me and Amira, and we sat there, we'd count pennies, and I would have her count to $1, for each one. If it was pennies, if it was quarters, that's how I taught her. So we would count those coins, and then I would get up to like $5 or $10 of gas money. And that would stretch me into the next payday. I say all that to say, no matter how little you are able to save, just start saving now, okay? If you are able to save even, let's say, $5 a week, start there. By the end of the month, you should have $20 in the bank, and then so on and so forth. And so when your next $20 emergency pops up, you'll be prepared. Eventually, as you continue to save and your income increases, you'll be able to save more and be able to cover bigger emergencies. Now, you need to make sure you have a goal in mind when it comes to your emergency savings. Ideally, you would want to start with first trying to get $1,000, which would cover most last-minute emergencies. This $1,000 is not going to cover all emergencies. However, it is going to be a great starting point to start building financial security for yourself and for your child, okay? Now, you might ask, what constitutes as an emergency? Perhaps your tire blows out on the way to work, or your child gets sick or gets hurt and you need to cover the hospital copay. Or maybe you lose your job and need to pay rent. Now, your nail breaking is not an emergency. Nor is buying food at Chipotle just because you don't feel like cooking was in house. So leave that emergency money alone. That money is strictly for unexpected emergencies. Typically speaking, single mothers who have an emergency fund overall have less stress and anxiety. When you have an emergency fund, it can lead to you making better choices and decisions in emergency situations. Check out my Side Hustles video for tips on how to bring in extra cash to help you save for your emergency fund faster. If you all are interested in learning how I was able to achieve my emergency fund goals, then be sure to let me know in the comments below. All right, you guys, I'm so sorry if the angle is a little bit different. My camera and everything, literally everything was about to die. Anyway, so let's get into tip number 2, okay? Tip number 2 is get life insurance. We all know life tends to throw us curveballs from time to time. We also know we are not going to be on this earth forever. That is why we all should be prepared for the inevitable. As a single mother or a parent in general, it is important that we set up life insurance to ensure that in life and in death, that our children are taken care of, okay? Life insurance can ensure a child's long-term financial security and also help them pursue higher education and other opportunities, okay? I would highly recommend, if possible, you and your child's father or other parent, whomever or whatever they may be, I recommend that you both purchase a life insurance plan for yourselves individually. I'm assuming you all are not together because, again, this is for single parents. So you all need to purchase life insurance. Both parents need to purchase life insurance individually, just in case something happens to either one of you, okay? Now, too many times, especially in our community, too many times a parent passes away unexpectedly and you or the other parent is forced to struggle to make ends meet due to the lack of planning. Either we're struggling making ends meet due to lack of planning, and or we got those good old GoFundMes. GoFundMes are not insurance plans, okay? Life insurance typically can replace a lost income upon either the mother or the father's death, ensuring that the children's ongoing needs, such as like housing, food, clothing, again, higher education once they get to college, it's going to ensure that all of those child's needs are met while that child is still underage and while they're not able to take care or fend for themselves. And as a bonus, if you have life insurance, and say you survive, hopefully, Lord willing, we all live to see our children grow up and get older, as long as they are the beneficiaries. When you pass and your child is of age, depending on how your life insurance plan is set up, that money can then be used for investments for your child. So having life insurance is always going to be one of the top recommendations for financial freedom for yourself and for your child. Now, I will also recommend getting a small policy for your child if possible, okay? If you can afford to do so, get a small policy for your child. Now, I know this is a little bit taboo to speak about. However, it is a very unfortunate reality that we as parents are never prepared for. Having to say goodbye to our little ones is never in the plan cards. However, having life insurance for your little one will ensure that you're able to mourn without the stress or the burden of having to know where the money is going to come from to cover the cost of an unexpected funeral. Having to bury our little ones is bad as it is. We don't want to have to add on extra stress, an extra burden to our lives just because we weren't prepared financially to deal with something, an unexpected event such as that. Now, be sure that you properly set up your beneficiaries for your life insurance plan. So for your particular life insurance plan, make sure that you are setting up beneficiaries on your account, and then also have in writing how the funds will be distributed to your dependents. Now, also be sure to have a written plan on who will be your child's caregiver or custodian in your passing, and then also how the funds will be allocated for proper care. I would personally recommend possibly putting the funds into like a trust fund, and then also allotting a certain amount to be released or made available, and like say in increments versus one lump sum available all at one time. There are two main different life insurance types. You have whole life and you have term life. Whole life is a type of permanent life insurance that provides lifelong coverage and builds cash value. Unlike term life insurance, which has a specific duration, whole life insurance covers you for your entire life as long as you continue to pay the premiums. It also includes a savings component that grows at a fixed rate, which creates a tax-deferred cash value that you can access during your lifetime. Term life insurance provides coverage for a specific period, usually 10, 20, or even 30 years, and offers a death benefit to beneficiaries if the insured person dies during that term. It's typically the most affordable type of life insurance and is often chosen for its simple structure and cost effectiveness. Now, I can't tell you which one to choose for yourself. I would highly recommend that you speak with an insurance professional. That way you can weigh your options and know which type of life insurance plan will be best suited for you and your needs at this time. Mom, hear me out. It is crucial that you get life insurance for yourself. Life insurance can literally break the cycle of poverty, and it can provide you and your child a better life overall, and it'll improve your child's chances for success in the future. So I don't see why you wouldn't get life insurance. Even if it's just a small plan, start with something affordable. Don't worry about trying to get $1 million policy. Get something that you can afford to cover the cost every month. That way you know that your baby will be taken care of when you leave this earth. Okay? Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you've made it this far, I really do hope that you have enjoyed and learned some things from this video. Now, before we finish, let me invite you to join For the Girls Only membership. This is a community built for women who are ready to grow and thrive together. For just $9.99 a month, you'll gain live virtual meetups to connect and share with like-minded women. Of course, I'll be in there as well. Exclusive tools and resources to help you thrive, member-only discounts and perks on merch products, And then also group travel opportunities to create unforgettable memories and experiences. This isn't just a membership, it's a sisterhood. So be sure to visit the Merch by T. Nicole website, link in the description box. Tip number 3, and this is the last tip for today, y'all. Build good credit. Build good credit. Building good credit is going to be very important in your financial journey as a single mother for a multitude of reasons. When you have good credit, you will be able to qualify for housing in better neighborhoods and communities. And you'll also be able to lower the required security deposit that it takes to move into those communities. Versus if you didn't have such good credit, you may be not in the safest neighborhoods, outside of the income requirements. When you have good credit, you are more likely to be able to get a loan or even apply for the house, even if you don't necessarily have the highest income. You would typically pay lower premiums for car insurance and other utilities that require security checks and deposits. Be sure when building your credit, you do not overextend yourself with high interest credit cards. Make sure you are taking a realistic and responsible approach when it comes to borrowing money. Make sure that you always pay all of your credit cards and loans on time and in full if possible. Keeping your credit utilization as low as possible or below 30% is typically ideal. Now, although at times I know it may be difficult, if you find yourself maxing out your credit cards every month, it's time for you to reevaluate your budget to see how you can cut costs and not be so dependent on your credit cards. If possible, use cashback credit cards and take advantage of the cashback perks on, say, grocery store purchases, gas purchases, utilities. In using these cashback credit cards, you can use the cashback to either cover purchases that you've already made, which would in turn lower your monthly bill, or you can even save up those rewards to go to something fun like a vacation or something like that. Or you can even, in some cases, you can even cash out those cashback rewards and actually receive a check in the mail that can then in turn go towards your what? Emergency fund. You got it, girl. Put that money towards that emergency fund, okay? This concludes all of the financial tips that I have for you today. Now, of course, I have so much more information to give to you all. But if you'd like me to dive into any of these tips that I've given you in detail and or explain to you exactly how I was able to achieve these goals and financial tips, if you would like me to go in much further detail about any of these tips, please make sure you let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope these tips inspire you to take charge of your finances and to build a better future for not only yourself, but also a better future that your children deserve. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with a fellow mama, and hit the subscribe button. If you feel compelled, please make sure you drop a comment below with your thoughts on how I did on this video, your favorite tip from today, and or if you have other tips that you want to give to other moms. Of course, we got to help each other out. Remember, we're building a community here. I love to hear how you all are starting your financial journeys. And don't miss out on more resources on my blog or social media platforms. Make sure you follow me on all platforms at Tremise Nicole. All right, girl. Remember, financial freedom is just one smart decision away. You got this. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Ceiling fan blowing cold breeze on your body. I can't tell you really what it is, but you got it. Makeup in the morning, you got dresses in your closet, but you grab them tight, you in love with being modest. You a move by